Hey guys, if you want to deal 7 to 8,000 damage a tick with the auto axe, this is the build for you. Now this is an updated build, just covering some of the changes that were made to some of the perk cards, some glitches that were patched. So we're just going to go ahead and redo the entire video for you guys. Now, starting out with the equipment, you're going to want the electrified auto axe with Furious, power attack damage, +3 strength, and pounders. This will give you a maximum of 19 onslaught stacks, so you can deal a very, very large amount of damage to En06. Without any boosts, you should be dealing around the 3,000 range, and we'll show you that in a second. But moving on to the armor, the only really important things that you want on this is going to be the troubleshooters, the strength, and the reflective. I like using Vulcan. You can use any power armor though. Now, moving on, we are going to be feral. We are a feral ghoul build. That is very important for this. That's how you're going to deal a lot of damage. Now, the essential mutations. The mutations that you want and the mutations that you need are kind of separate. So for this one specifically, I'd highly recommend Herd Mentality for that +3 strength. Marsupial, Speed Demon are pretty standard across all sorts of builds, so I'd recommend those. And then the last one that I'd really sort of recommend is going to be Twisted Muscles down all the way at the bottom here. Those couple mutations are honestly the most important ones. You don't really need anything else. The other ones that I have here, I do recommend. Now, I will say Carnivore is much better than Herbivore for this build, but we're going to be Herbivore because I don't really want to switch it. Anyway, moving on to perks. Perks are a pretty big part of this. I'm going to tell you what's essential and what's not. But for our legendary, we're going to run Feral Rage. Then the rest of them are all going to be special stats perks. Now, the reason why we run Feral Rage is for that little perk ability that makes glow cost a little bit less. Now, which ones you choose isn't too important. The important one, though, here is strength, because we're actually going to be overclocking our strength. Meaning we're going to max out our strength and have that +5 on top of it just for the extra damage. Now, moving on to the normal perks, Orange Express is not necessary. I don't think that we really need that, but it does help if you're using nuke mines. Moving on to Incisor, this one's really important for that 75% armor reduction on opponents. That's how you're going to bypass a lot of that without needing an anti-armor perk. Now, moving on to Martial Artist. This allows your auto axe to tick 30% faster. It is a necessity. You need to be running this. Also, it makes it way less, so why could you not like it? Arms Keeper is not really needed. It just helps your weapons weigh a little bit less. Honestly, you could trade that out if you wanted to. Radioactive Strength is very, 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 very important. Always run that because every attack with the auto axe is considered a power attack. If you don't have this, you're doing something wrong. Trust me. Moving on to Bone Shatter, this is probably the most important perk in this entire deck because that'll allow you to instantly cripple its shield and start dealing the critical damage to the torso. Refractor just gives you a little bit of extra energy resistance just to kind of take the edge off of it. Glow Sight, this one you can take off. This one's only important for Queen. Grenader, again, if you're running nuke mines, I highly recommend this, but if you're not running nuke mines, you can take that off. Starch Jeans, you don't really need it because you are a ghoul not taking right away, but I don't like to take that chance of constantly having to fix my mutations, so I just keep that on. Now, moving on to Glowing Gut. This one's really good for ghouls, and you should be a ghoul during this, so you should have this. Life Giver is really good, helps keep your health up. Honestly, the more health you have, the better. Ironclad is great. It doubles your protection if you're wearing a normal set. So here, I don't have Scaly Skin or Grounded, and I'm sitting at about 1,000 for each ballistic and energy resistance. Now moving on down to Chem Fiend. You honestly shouldn't run this. I only like to run this because I have the extra perk points. Strange in Numbers is always a necessity. You should never not be running it. Moving on to the next one, Party Boy. This one's really great for alcohol. Honestly, I think it's really important just for the whiskey. Tenderizer, again, another very important perk. United Ordeal is great, but it can be taken off if you're not running with another ghoul on your team. You need another ghoul for that to work, which honestly, you should have another ghoul on your team. Feral Presence, honestly, isn't that important. You can take that off if you want to. Same thing with Suppressor. They're both really not that important perks, but they do help. Makeshift Warrior is great because it reduces the break speed of your weapons. Batteries included is an absolute necessity in every build, honestly, if you're running power armor. Stable Tools is in the same boat as Makeshift Warrior. Science Monster. This one's not important, but I do like it for the extra little bit of damage. You can replace Chem Fiend, by the way, with Fireproof, and Science Monster with Demolition Expert. Both of the action perks are really good. Born Survivor is also a really good perk. It just helps keep you alive. Class Freak is a necessity in every single build. Good with Salt, I think, is a necessity if you're running food, which you will be for this. Ricochet is also pretty important. I like that little bit of extra damage when I get attacked. Bloody Mess isn't really that important. It's only 15%, but if you have it, use it. Faulty Spots, again, same thing as Bloody Mess, but every little bit helps. So now, with this first run, we are not using any sort of buffs, nothing. We are not even using Whiskey. We're just using our Electrified Auto Axe with nothing else. So we're just going to go ahead and hop up here. And then we can hop out of our power armor once we're up here and do the glitch where we take no damage from the electric. So to do that, you just hop out of your power armor. Then you have your buddy press the button. And as soon as you hear its voice, you can hop into the power armor. And as long as you're in the animation, when the platform starts going down, you will be fine. It cannot damage you. Now, what we're going to do, we're just going to position ourselves behind it here. And then we're going to, on our alt account, we're just going to shoot at it just to grab its attention so that it doesn't target us immediately. We're able to instantly cripple that shield, come around, and we're dealing 3,300 a tick with no buffs. That is a massive amount. We have no buffs on, and we're able to solo this thing. Now, I know some of you out there want to deal even more damage, and while we're not herbivore, we can't show you the full extent in this video without completely rewriting our mutations, but I can get you pretty close. So we're going to pop an herbivore serum just to negate the negative so we can eat meat, but I would highly, 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 highly recommend for this build that you are a carnivore, just for that extra strength and melee damage boost. Now, for our next boost, what we're going to do is we're actually going to come down here to aid, and we're going to use our herbivore, because I forgot to do that. Now, for our first food item, we are going to use Deathclaw Wellington. Deathclaw Wellington adds +3 strength, but +6 with the carnivore mutation, which is a very, very large amount of strength. Now, the reason why this is so important is because every piece of strength adds melee damage to your weapon. Now, our next food item that we're going to take is actually going to be the Tasty Yao Guai Roast, which adds 85% melee damage, but that's 170% extra melee damage if you are a carnivore, which is massive. This is how we're going to get those high numbers when we are a carnivore, because it adds just so much. Now for our aid, we're actually going to go down here and we're going to equip ourselves a melee bobblehead for that extra 20% melee weapon damage for an hour. It's not a lot, but it does help add a little bit of damage. And then we cannot forget about our Whiskey. Whiskey adds +6 strength, which is another massive bonus. If you use that in the Wellington, you can get +12 strength. And then we're going to use a Guns and Bullets 1 because we don't have any melee ones, but that will give us another +15% damage to the robot. Now, we have 55 strength with this build now. So we're not even carnivore, we are herbivore, and we were able to get up to 55 strength. Now, we're going to go ahead and hop out of our power armor, and we're going to press the button on our alternate character and hop in. This again will negate the effects. And to state again, as long as you're in the animation when the platform starts going down, you're fine. So we're going to grab the attention on our alt, the exact same as last time. We're doing nothing different here, except now we're boosted just up a bit. Again, we could go more if we had carnivore, but just these couple little boosts, we're able to take our damage from 3,000 all the way up to 4,000. So we gain 1,000 damage just like that, and we're not even set up properly. We're not stacking any sort of glowing melee bobbleheads or strength bobbleheads or anything like that like we could be. We are just doing this with the easy to get perks. Now, this build can easily get up to 7,000 to 8,000 a tick, but you're gonna need to have a lot of end game equipment for that. So, while it can get to 7 to 8, hell, this thing can get actually up to 12, 14,000 a tick, but it's unnecessary. 4 or 3,000 is what you should want out of this build, but if you are in a group of people that is trying to take down EN06, it doesn't matter anyway. The only reason why you want 7 to 8,000 is for soloing, but we can easily take it on with 3,000 will solo. So if you really want to know how to do that, let me know in the comments and I'll explain exactly what you need to do, but I don't want to waste the resources for it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have an amazing day. Leave a like and subscribe. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. As always, again, I appreciate you guys so much. Have an amazing day, y'all. And that's Millie76. I'll see you later.